Got something else? Hey. Got a good reason. She did me happy. Yeah, that's it. I hear you. Go ahead, baby. It's good.
Yeah, so.
All right.
Yeah.
Welcome. Welcome to the basement. That's BASSMINT. Why don't you tell us your name?
My name's Mike Green.
Mike Green, another Detroit bass player.
Yeah.
Welcome to the basement, Mike. Also assisting on this interview with some more bass players from around the world. We got, tell us your name.
Dwayne Tiny Jones.
All the way from Cleveland, come and hang out with us in the basement. And
Parker Klein.
one of my favorite alumni bass players from Detroit area.
James Gourmet.
Another one of my favorites, and
Don Max.
another one of my favorites. You know, I'm gonna say my favorites, no matter who it is, right?
Yeah.
and welcome Mike Green to the basement. How you liking it so far? You've been here.
So far, it's great. I feel like I'm the oxymoron, though. I'm probably the oldest guy here with no experience at all.
No experience. So what do you mean? So when did you start playing bass?
About 3 years ago.
Why?
Well, back in the 60s, I took some piano lessons. Teacher taught me Mozart, Beethoven, stuff like that, and I wanted to play Stones, Beatles, Led Zeppelin, and so I quit because she wouldn't go there with me. She's a nice lady, but didn't happen. So I had a dry spot for about, let's say 40 years, and then my kid comes home one day and says, "Dad, I need a bass." I said, "Really? What do you need a bass for?" He says, "Well, I'm in a band." I said, "You're in a band, you don't even know how to play the bass." He goes, "I know, but they kicked the other kid out." It's like, "All right, let's go get your bass." So we went and got him a bass, and that's been seven years ago. He's been taking lessons with Eddie Cohen for those 7 years.
Eddie Cohen, another Detroit bass
Yes,
player.
sir.
What's the name of your son?
Tyler Green, and so he plays a lot of the metal, the gothic stuff, and he's by far a lot better than I am at this stuff. But I figured, well, we've got all the stuff in the house, I might as well learn how to play it. We got the SCVTs, Pro Series amps or Ampeg stuff, and I borrowed his stuff to come here today, and actually I'm trying to figure out what kind of bass I should have for my first one.
Okay, now we're gonna get back to that question about what you're gonna have for your first bass, because I run this series of these Detroit basements in the basement. We do them over Reggie Candy's basement, and I post them on Facebook and a few other places, but they're all consolidated on my YouTube channel called Ivan Williams. So it's youtube.com/Ivan Williams.
Very cool, very cool.
Okay, so if you want to see any of these Detroit bass player interviews, just go to Ivan Williams on YouTube, or just punch in on YouTube, just punch in Detroit bass players. You'll see a few of them. You need to check some out. And then I had a question from one person on that channel. He asked this question. It says it's a basement question for the group. And the question is, what's the standard bass rig setup, or what's a good bass rig for the money for beginners, for local shows, or in the basement? Thanks, love your channel. And that's by a guy named Mo Stacks. So as we answer his question, we'll probably be answering yours as well. It's like, what's the good rig? So I'm gonna turn to my good friend here, Tiny here, who's been playing for quite some while. I play with the big boys. I know some of the guys you play with, Don Williams of the Commodores, right? Another guy that you played was Rob Cunningham of Levert.
Actually, I am from the Levert camp. I've never been one for bragging, but Rude Boys, I used to play for a guy named Bill Spivey. He wrote a lot of songs. He wrote Operator for Manhattan Transfer. I toured with him. I toured under Natalie Cole's mom's camp. She was a manager, and so I just played so much. I used to be the hired gun when I was a kid
in Cleveland.
And it was a lot of fun, and so for me, A good bass rig is the one that works for you. I would say that I'm partial to Eden and Mark bass. I love Mark bass because of the weight. I love Mark bass's sound. But Eden just got a little bitty crispy tone to it. There's just, and they do have some newer, smaller amp now. But I would recommend, just for something that can do exactly what the question you asked was, I would recommend a Mark bass setup because you can buy a Mark bass with 112 in it and have 400 watts. You can't beat that. Nope. And it will throw all of those 400 watts as far as sound goes. Sound is in decibels, but you know, you still will get all the use out of it. So I would recommend Mark bass. If your money says so, there's no question about Dave Eden equipment.
Right, and when you mention weight, you what you meant by weight is lighter weight.
Yes, Mark bass is terrific. I have a Mark bass set. I have an FB1, one of the first original Mark bass head. It's 500 watts and what's about as big as a book, you know. And I have the Mark bass 410 cabinet, and it weighs 30 pounds, is it, or something like that, under 30 pounds?
I think it's 50, right around 50 for the 410.
Is it? Yeah, it feels like 30. When you've been doing as long as I have, and you've been moving, you know,
18-inch speakers.
You know what I'm saying, man.
Exactly.
I've had the acoustic. I had SVT, but I had roadies. So I'm not gonna tell that lie and tell you I moved the SVT around.
Right.
You know, and when the roadie thing ended, I left the SVT wherever it was. You know, I'm serious here. But I've always, you know, been an advocate of having something that can give you the sound that you're after. You know, and over a period of time, you learn. Recommendation for your first bass, go get a Fender Jazz bass. Or Precision.
That's what I've been understanding. Is
yes, go get one. And not because they're so much better than other basses, but because it's going to be a bass that you can make use of from now on.
The American-made Fender is, I think, is a good investment. But my opinion for beginner rigs, I don't know how old Mo Stacks is, who asked that question. Ibanez is a good starter bass. If you don't have money, if money is an issue, Ibanez is a good starter bass. Also, the Fender Squire is a good starter bass, and they run around the same price. But like Tiny said, it's what you feel. Whichever one you put in your hand, and that bass hugs
like
you.
a part of you.
If it hugs you back, you know what I mean. Not literally, but figuratively speaking. If that bass feels good in your hands, that's what you go with, and then just continue to learn about different basses, and then something else might grab you at another time. But that's my recommendation. What you got, Parker?
Are we talking rigs or basses?
I'm talking rig and bass.
Now, I'm assuming he said beginner rig?
Beginner, yeah.
As far as beginners, not my personal choice, but Ampeg makes a head, or they used to make a head called the B2RE. It's 500 watts. It looks like an SVT. It sounds pretty close because it's Ampeg. And then as far as a cab, probably a 410 because that's the most you're ever going to need before you need front of house support.
Right. 410, any particular model you cater to?
One that works, preferably.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
As long as it works, it'll do the job until you can get your quote-unquote dream rig.
Right, and these two guys, like I said, two experienced bass players. In fact, Parker even made basses and amplifiers, so he knows what he's talking about.
As far as a starter bass, I'm gonna give another +1 to what Tiny said. Those new Squires, the vintage modifieds, they're absolutely killer. And there's another one that I think Music Man released just to compete with that. The new Music Man Sterling Sub.
Oh, really?
Those things are
Nice.
They are ridiculous.
And what's the price range of those?
The 5 Music Man Sterling Sub, the 5 strings right around $329 to $350. The Squier vintage modifieds are anywhere from $289 to $330, $350, I believe.
So I mean, so somebody, you just need to put this stuff in your hands.
Go to a store, well, as many stores as you can. Literally play every bass they have there, regardless of whether or not it's the same model as the one before.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and the name on the headstock, have someone go and put tape over it. Name doesn't really mean squat.
Right. Okay. Reggie, what do you think about it? I posed the question, what's a good beginner's rig? And my man Mike Green, you know, he's interested over here. We just overtaking his interview, but what's a good rig and beginner bass, man? What you think?
Okay, for what are you talking about spending on the rig?
Price is not part of the equation.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm partial, but that little Mark bass combo, the one piece on the top, I think that's about $1,100.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a multi-purpose rig. It'll fill up a room.
So if like say you had,
But there's one, you know, if you just want just a practice something to get started with without
local gigs and in the basement.
Oh, goes with something small. Fender Bassman makes a good one. Behringer makes a good one. It's a good, you know. That's small. You probably want to have about at least like 300 watts.
Yeah, the Fender Rumble 210's like 350.
You need one that even about 300 watts, so you can have a little bit of headroom.
The Fender Rumble.
But that's a good place for you to
The
start.
210 I like.
The 350, that's the 350 with the 210s. That Fender Rumble is nice.
Yeah.
And also, PV makes a good American made,
they do.
inexpensive amps. And when you was talking about a 410, it made me think I have a student of mine who I took to a store in Cleveland, and he was able to buy a PV 410 cabinet and a 500 watt head.
Was it the Headliner series?
The Headliner series, exactly. And it was so inexpensive. You know, he ran out of there with it, and we took it home to my house and set it up in the garage, and my neighbors called the police. Yes, they did.
That's power there. James,
Yes,
what you think about new gear for a beginner?
Well, beginner, I'm partial to David Eaton and SWR. Right away, you notice you're going to need power, at least 300 to 500 watts. Mm-hmm. You know, don't waste your time. But if you wanted to go into a combo thing, TC Electronics is doing some really sharp stuff. Mm-hmm. And EBS is doing some really sharp stuff too. For something like a 115 or something like that, they're doing really sharp stuff. But, you know, again, you got to get out here and play the stuff. You know, first of all, though, you got to know what you want to sound like. You got to know what genre of music you want to primarily stay within, too. Again, Fender. Yeah. I mean, and you know what? Even if you don't do anything with it, something happens and you don't want to play, or you can always get rid of that stuff. That's not stuff that's going to sit around. You're going to be able to move that really easy.
It's like Harley Davidson. It maintains a lot of its value over other guitars.
Yeah, so.
What about bass
guitars?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Inexpensive, maybe. Starter basses.
Yeah, I would say the Squier stuff is good. Ibanez, I have to look at that again. The Ibanez stuff is pretty cost effective.
Well, what is that you got right there?
Oh, this is kind of odd and weird.
Oh, I forgot to mention.
Yeah, I stumbled upon this. This is a Douglas. 170 bucks.
Wait a minute. You said 170 bucks.
Okay.
And it does it all. And it's a 6-string humbucker pickups.
So that's a 6-string Douglas.
That costs
$170 bucks.
That's it.
That's a mid-90s Fender.
And the reason why I jumped on it, because of the way it sounded. It's Japanese bass. It was real nasally, real dark, growly. I couldn't believe how it sounded for the price. I jumped on it.
Now, where can you pick up a Douglas if we wanted to get one?
I grabbed this on Rondo Sound online.
Rondo Music.
Rondo Music, yeah. And it was, like I said, 170,
I think
160 bucks.
sells it too.
Now
Z-Sounds, no.
Now the thing about,
exclusive dealer.
But now, see, the cool part though is this is kind of a jump from a Fender in some ways because these are humbuckers and it's active.
right, and it's still less than $200. But
yeah.
but the bad thing about the Rondo stuff is You have to purchase
Wacky
it.
strains.
You have to purchase it online.
Okay.
And then, you know, a lot of people skeptical about not being able to play the product first. But just like anything else online, if you don't like it, send it back.
Right. Well, no, the funny part is, though, I saw this in the store used. And I played it. And I couldn't believe how it sounded. I'm like, are you serious? And I kept getting on it and playing it. And the wife told me to walk away from it. And it kept bugging me. So I went back to the store and talked to the guy about it. And he told me where to look on Rondo Sound, and there it was.
Okay, so that's not the one you played at the music store.
No. This is what I found out. This is a brand new online.
Right. See, that's
so I played it before. So
Do they have like an extra layer for where your hands are on there?
I put that on there.
Oh, okay.
That's like a 30 mil film, plastic film.
That's what
so I don't
saw.
have to wear it. Yeah, it gives a little different sheen.
And
I put that on all my basses because
going back to what you said though, as a music teacher, as a music teacher, you were right. You're not really going to beat an Ibanez. They got some Ibanez's brand new for like $150.
So
You know,
And if you get the whole package, you get an amp, book, strap, tuner.
Yeah, for like $2.99 or something like that.
Yeah.
yeah.
I think the official product line is called the Geo.
Yeah, the Geo sound gear thingy.
very cool.
Most of my,
That makes sense.
I'm telling you, 90% of my students, when they come for the first time, they all got an Ibanez
Ibanez, yeah,
before
that's
I
true.
even talk to them.
That's
So I'm like, okay, Ibanez must be doing something to get all of these beginners to purchase them.
For a core bass, you're right. The Ibanez is a great bass. A lot of the students I've had have, come in with the Ibanez, and between that one and like we said, the Squire, you can't really beat them for the price.
Okay,
And the
Don.
Ibanez actually comes in different levels too. I mean, some of them are real poppy and snappy, like a Marcus thing. Some of
Yeah,
them are a bit muty. So
and then they
it
got
depends on what you want to do.
they got the big boys too.
Yeah, that's true.
You get the Gerald V's.
Yeah, Gerald V's
Yeah.
high end bass.
Yeah.
Ibanez.
But then you got the Gary Willis doing this thing
Yeah.
with them. So
What you think, Don, about beginner basses and stuff like you? I mean, you getting ready to purchase you a bass, and not as a beginner, but what were you looking for on this new bass that you plan on getting?
just a different sound, pretty much. I mean, I love the Fender bass, but I really would like to have my own type of sound, and that's pretty much one of the reasons why I'm looking for something else.
What you thinking about?
Maybe like a humbucky or a factor bass, something like that.
Okay.
Just from what I heard about it, and Kenny G's bass player Val Johnson that I met like years ago told me about it.
you hear a lot of people talk about that. What sound? And we all have talked about that amongst ourselves. What is the sound you're looking for? We all say it, but what is
crazy.
it? It's something. It's not tangible, but what is it?
It's a pluck sound that it has that it doesn't sound like nothing else.
Yeah.
And the closest thing to it is that the one that the guy was playing, that Doug Jones was playing.
The Padula.
Oh,
That's
okay.
the
Padula
closest
does
thing.
have a signature sound to it.
I got one student
Buzz.
that went through 20 basses inside of 2 months.
Wow.
He took one, he got one, he took it back to me. He was looking for a sound that he didn't realize was in him.
Oh, okay.
So he finally ended up getting rid of all those basses. I mean, he got the American-made PVs, the high-end Millennium or whatever those was. Cirrus, yeah. He went through all these basses, and then I kept trying to talk to him, and then finally I got him to sit down and listen, and I had to show him. And eventually he ended up actually getting a bass from me, which was a Court.
Oh, yeah.
Those chords
No,
are
not the
beast,
Curbo.
though,
This is
man.
above the Curbo. Court has an A-series bass now that's in the same standard of quality as the Tobias's.
Oh,
And stuff like
wow.
that. They start at about $800 or $900, but the good one is about 11 or 12. And the Court bass, and I had one.
Yeah,
And he
Brian
ended up-
Beatty plays one too.
He ended up taking. He ended up
Yeah.
finally got my
That blind
Court
one he
bass,
got is a Court.
and he finally sat still because he realized that, I seen a question on the page just very recently that about getting your sound out of an instrument, or what quality of instrument does an instrument have to be, and not to change the subject. How old did you say you were?
54.
Okay, well, you're not the oldest guy in the room.
Nope.
Okay, so
But I'm the newest guy playing.
Okay, but to get to that is what I'm saying is at a certain point of time in your learning and how you come along after so many years, you learn that it doesn't matter what kind of bass I'm playing. If the bass stays in tune, I'm going to get my sound. I don't care what the amp is. I don't care what the bass is. As long as it will stay in tune.
Right.
Because there's nothing you can do about that. If it won't stay in tune, you can't play it.
Yeah.
But I'm going to get my sound no matter what kind of amp you put me in because I know what my sound is.
Okay.
You know, to that degree when it on what level.
Right.
You know, if I'm just playing, I want a bassy sound. If I'm playing some James Brown, I know what I need.
Right.
You know,
Yeah,
if I'm playing
exactly.
some funk or something, I know what I need.
Yeah.
So I know where to go to get it. Just, you know, that's an experience thing. And that's what they're going to learn.
But and so the overall truth is, get whatever you get, okay?
Because know what you want to play. What kind of music do you want to play?
Because I mean, after it's all said and done, there's a 1,000. I'm just throwing that number. It's 1,000 different basses. It's 1,000 different amps, right?
Yep.
And neither one's going to make or break you. You know what I mean? So you choose. Almost let it choose you. You know what I'm saying? If it chooses you, then that means it feels good. You making a connection with it. You know what I'm saying? Like basses coming from $100 to over $10,000. You know, whatever you can afford. Is that $10,000 bass gonna sound any better than that $100 bass?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
A man told me shooting pool, it ain't the stick, it's the sticker.
Right. Exactly.
Exactly. So you say you've been playing how long?
About 3 years now.
About 3 years.
Yeah, Eddie's got me a small little festival band that I play in, so we played a couple little festivals here and there.
What's the name of the band?
It's called String Theory. It's mostly it's like a classic rock / country, a little bit here and there, folk stuff, but something that I'm comfortable with, so it works.
Okay, good. Now, if we wanted to see you perform, or hear you perform, where could we find you?
Well, you probably just look me up on Facebook, Mike Green, and the band's called String Theory. I'm not sure if we don't even have a web page or anything like that. We're just a bunch of old geezers going out and trying to entertain people on a weekend. So
Welcome to the club.
yeah.
Welcome to the Old Geezers Club, because I'm an old geezer myself, I guess. So I'm 51.
Geezer in here.
Yeah.
I'm second, I guess.
Yeah. So yeah.
50, I'll be 57 this year.
Oh no!
Yeah.
You don't look
But
that.
see, that's a matter of how good God is.
It looks good.
The
on
one
you.
who gave us this talent,
Yeah.
you know, that's it right there.
Yeah. Okay. So another question I'd like to ask you is, like, when you started playing piano and quit because you couldn't play, she wouldn't teach you Led Zeppelin.
Yeah. Yeah, Led Zeppelin on piano. You know,
Well-
what do you think? What, Beatles?
Yeah. So for the past 40 years or so, when you started playing, who are some of your favorite bass players and groups that you? I mean,
You know, the stuff I grew up with, you know, like Cream, Free, you got, you know, the Beatles, Zeppelin, stuff like that. But then the Motown stuff was great. I just love the Motown stuff. But for me to find somebody to play that, you know, it's a little tough.
bass players.
Well, not so much bass players, but everybody around me. You know, you can talk about Stanley Clarke and Victor and all those guys. They're great players, but you know, you talk about inspirations. You guys were last year at the Stardust, the bass player.
What we call the big round table. The big round table.
You know, I just sat there and just was in awe. You know, everybody got out there playing. I had a great time. I didn't want to get up there, but you know, just to watch you guys play, that was my inspiration, and that's what keeps me driving right now.
Yeah, we can thank Reggie for having that big bass round table.
So when's the next one? Is what I want to know.
Well, we haven't set the date for it yet.
Yeah, we're gonna wait till it get hot, man. Probably
See,
trying to do some
the biggest
stuff.
thing about that is not all of our members can make a Saturday because they gig or they got family. So I mean, to find a sweetheart day where everybody's available
It's
I don't think we ever
our-
gonna find one, so I kind of just play it back here.
And I'll say this: if we don't have a drummer, I got a drum machine.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you.
Same technique, none of the hassle.
One of the cool thing about these basements is it's always just enough people. You know what I mean? Now it's never too many. It's just always just enough. So that's why we started to try to do the big basement at the Stardust, and then everybody couldn't. It wound up being the same amount of people that fit here in the basement.
Right.
Only difference is they got to eat and drink, you know.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, maybe I mean I want to do a big one, man. You know what I mean, with a whole bunch of bass players, just almost as many that be at the photograph, just smacking notes and everybody getting up. The ones who can show off, and the rest of us we look in awe and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Well, we need to talk to Kim.
Okay. Well, we talked to Kim about that, and I ain't want to keep you, man. But before I let you go, anybody else got any questions for this fine beginner bassist?
Yeah, what did you have in mind for your first rig? For your own personal? What
Actually,
were you looking for?
What I was sort of gravitating to was the Fender American Deluxe.
Probably good. Probably good.
That's where I was sort of heading because, like I said, my kid's been playing for years now. He's got 2 Ibanez's and this thing.
What's his name?
Tyler Green.
He plays with a band?
Yeah, he plays metal.
What band he plays with?
He's, I don't even.
Well, I'll edit that part out.
It changes from week to week, but it's the same guys.
Oh, you ever go see your son play?
Yeah, they played up Crow's Foot a few times. They played Clutch Cargoes a couple times. But they do the heavy screaming, grunge metal. Yeah, that's them. But every once in a while I get lucky and they go off into a Jimi Hendrix or Stevie Ray for me, and then I was like, okay, the world's right again.
That's cool to have a son playing music and going or a brother in that case. You got a brother that plays, right? And he's doing well now, right?
Yeah, they're up for a DMA this year.
Right. What's the name of your brother's band again?
Eris.
Eris. And you originally playing with them and gave the gig to your brother, right?
And now they're getting an award.
I could not. Granted, I do appreciate the style of music. I just got tired of playing it.
But it's
just not my thing.
Working well for your brother, and they up for a 2013 Detroit Music Award.
Yep.
That's awesome, man.
Tyler's been a lot of my inspiration too. He's 20, so if he can do it, I think I can do it. And here's a shout out for Eddie Cohen. He's up for a good old music award too.
Is he?
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Yeah.
Isn't it Best Jazz Composer?
Yep. Pulp Fusion.
The new album he did. Another Detroit bass player in the basement alumni.
Yep.
His playing on that record's crazy.
Yeah, he's great.
Well, maybe we need to revisit his album and go buy a copy. He really wants you to buy a copy.
Yep.
So, anybody else got any questions for this bassist, fine bassist? Well, how about, is there anything that you'd like to say in closing, Mr. Green?
No, I just think it's a great group of guys, and I can't wait to get up to your guys at least lower level, you guys, and then get out and play, sometimes with you guys.
That's awesome that you feel that way. Keep up the good work, man. And why don't you just play us a little something out, man? Just a little something.
All right.
Yeah.